And we're live. Good evening, good morning, good night. This is another episode of Hong Kong House of Cards. And I just realized Brett was here. He should have done that. Dick move.
Another edition of Hong Kong House of Cards where everything is about to blow up in people's faces and they don't know it.
Oh, shit. Okay, so this is going to be a kind of a little private social scene going on at the Doom ship. I love that name. But we're also going to do a very quick roll, real fast, just because Asuka had 2 days off that we didn't use, and the idea was she'd use that for whatever she needed to. Well, we still need to get that suit.
I thought she was in the middle of a lesbian love fest with Cordelia.
That was last week.
That was last week.
This week she's got hookers. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's Dimitri.
Ah, damn you. Don't call my police girlfriend
hookers, literally.
Don't call Jinglo a hooker. She's my police influence.
No. I mean, they actually have hooks. They are hookers.
Oh, fuck you. Anyways, sorry. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we're going to roll. Asuka, you've got your sheet, right, Ben?
Yeah, I got the sheet up.
For this, I'm guessing it's intelligence plus craft hypertech, exploding 10 since it's creative. And she has mechanical aptitude, so -2 difficulty. And since it's crafting, we're burning willpower, right?
Yeah, of
right,
course.
Ben?
Burning willpower is always a thing.
Okay, let's see how many successes you come up with 2 days worth of rolling.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus exploding dice, you know the deal.
Plus an automatic success. You want to roll for it, Brett? 8 dice? This is for Saturday and then Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. 8 dice to 4. Oh, I think. Oh, please, did she knock it out of the park on the first day? God damn. So she did go and have another Love Fest. Fine. Okay, fine.
Asuka's gonna go off celebrating on Sunday.
Okay, so the suit is complete. Yay! It's got the nice new. I'll update that later in the blue book, but it's got its new bells and whistles. I'm happy. Beta mode has been achieved, just in time for Mitchell to arrive. Okay, so this is Wednesday night, or something akin to that. Mitchell and Hikaru and Arthur have been invited. I keep doing that. They've been invited over to the Doom ship, given the address, told to arrive discreetly if possible. Because Dimitri's not going to pull the same shit we did at the warehouse. We're not inviting everyone over here. So, Dimitri is going to be waiting on the ship for new arrivals. Feel free to bring in.
Mitchell, I'll let you go first.
Shoshiro will park his motorcycle about a block away from the address he was given and hoof it the rest of the way, preferably through alleys if possible.
Given it's a warehouse docks district type thing, I'd say that's possible. This is like a dry docked derelict vessel. It's basically a mid-sized cargo freighter that looks like it would have been, at some point it was probably put up here for repairs, and then someone didn't have the money to complete it, so it's just been rusting.
So is there a place that...
There's a gangplank that leads you up onto the top of the deck. That's the only entrance as far as I know.
Let me rephrase this. Does my character know if there's a place that I can park without arousing suspicion?
I'm sure.
Okay. We'll park there and then hoof it the rest of the way. And we will be sneaky if possible.
Meanwhile, Arthur arrives on his flying carpet. Stop hanging out with Taftanis.
Stop. You don't want to know what he's had to do lately. Arthur will actually show up on foot. Kind of hard for him to be surreptitious with, moonlight pale skin and silver hair. He'll walk up to the ship, look around, and then head up the gangplank.
God, it meant for you to be noticed. He wouldn't have given you cloaking. Anyways.
Some of us don't have cloaking. Some of us have to deal with it.
Oh, well. Anyways, so Dimitri's up at the top. presumably Asuka's with him, or what do you want to do, Ben?
Yeah, Asuka'd probably be with him if Dimitri actually told her about this.
Oh yeah. This is a show and tell, letting things know what's happening and all that kind of crap, and asking Cabal what the fuck's been going on, which is going to be fun.
Cabal just seems to be, you know, Cabal just keeps talking about how she's lurking, she's out there.
All
She's
these
a
squares
bitch.
make a circle. All these squares make a circle. God damn it, Cabal! I'm not going to give you any more LSD. Anyways, okay, so Dimitri and Oscar are at the top. As soon as you guys arrive, Dimitri just nods to you both and just quietly motions you all inside down the main hatch.
You will notice that anybody that watched Arthur walk up, there are some animals following him. They will stop at the gangplank and stay there.
Get lost, woodland critters! No, I'm just kidding. Not going to be
Don't piss off Arthur's friends.
They're not the satanic worshipping ones from South Park, are they?
No, they're not.
Okay, good.
They're
Just
not
making sure.
Christmas critters. They're
Okay.
also not happy tree friends.
Thank God. Okay.
Well, they are alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, once we're fully inside, Brett, would Hikaru notice the change in atmosphere from entering a laboratory?
It's a little stifling. I mean, you are a creature of the wild, and you're entering someplace that's heavily Weaver.
Mm.
I would say that it's not a physical feeling. It's something kind of resonating within your soul. Or spirit egg, as the case may be.
Okay. It the Korax are a lot like the Glasswalkers in terms of their relationship to technology, so it might not take him completely off guard, but he will still be a little unsettled by it.
Yeah.
Probably-
Feathers are a little ruffled.
Probably more so when you come to the first layer of security, which, because we're giving Wes's people the night off, there's a porthole, that going down into the rest of the area, outside of the main area.
Mm-hmm.
And as you approach, two of these things appear. I'm going to put the picture up because we did. Two of these things, except they basically have some sort of projectile weapon-ish thing that looks kind of like a chem launcher or like a flamethrower or something of that effect. Some sort of goopy acid thing on the back. And
Giant metallic super soakers.
Yeah, basically that. And they're like chittering a little bit, almost like binaric. And they're looking at us. But, they haven't attacked yet.
Arthur's kind of just looking at them. And there's something in the back of his head going, I'm not used to seeing these things outside of the Umbra.
No, they've only got no. They've only got 6 legs. These are the alpha prototypes. Anyways, Dimitri just raises a hand and waves slightly. It's all right, Cabal. They're guests, and presumably they back down and let us through. So you head in. The underside of the cargo hold, as I understand it, there are multiple sections, but we're going to go to Cabal first. There's a workshop further in the main hold, but we're heading to Cabal for right now. Cabal's got his own little room. He fills the little room. It's basically like, I don't know, maybe size of a master bedroom or something like that. Slightly higher ceiling, probably. Once you get inside, there's a tall metal, like a computer pillar almost, which pretty much fills the room. Like, it wasn't easy to get this sucker in here. We might have had to disassemble parts of it for a bit. I'm just saying, it's big. But it looks like a giant CPU. And then around it, connected by thick cables, are 5 vats which have some sort of opaque glass, and inside there's some sort of murky greenish liquid, and what might be shapes floating inside, but it is so obscured you probably can't tell. Unless you have some sort of life sight or something.
Okay. All right.
Guess who has life sight?
Hey, Arthur's seen this before, so he's not too surprised.
Oh, okay. Well, it's thrown up anyway.
Yep, there's still 5 kind of, sort of life sides in those vats. They're not really alive, but they are, kind of. Luckily, there's no intelligence in them.
They're biologically alive.
Yes, but completely brain dead. Just hunks of, biological matter we're using. Anyways, Dimitri, kind of breathes a sigh of relief. It's like, all right, sorry to invite you here at such late notice. I'm sure things have been, he kind of chooses words carefully, interesting lately.
My best friend is a drunken mess, so yeah.
Dimitri just kind of looks. He does that a fair amount, I thought. I thought he was struggling with alcoholism. Okay.
It's worse.
On a
Well,
bender.
considering the fact that he had to join his master in putting his ex-girlfriend to death.
Come again? Did something change?
Sam, we caught her last night. We destroyed her avatar, and then then DeSalle and Jason killed her.
So the Northern Graveyard is handled?
It's handled. The tower's down. The wraiths are now flying back to wherever they go. The specters are now flying away. I have to go take a trip up to the northwestern section to see if what's up there is missing, or at least not there anymore.
Or sleeping, if nothing else.
Preferably sleeping. I don't want him to be off on a journey.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I should bring things up to speed here. So, first off, both of you, he looks between you two, are already aware of the incident with Finn and the Denholm Institute.
Yeah, fortunately, Finn doesn't talk to many people.
Yeah, we had a brief conversation.
Which ended with a destroyed phone, I hope.
I cracked it with my knife and slipped it into a glass of water to be carried to another location to be demolished.
That should do it. They're still probably looking for him. I'm still wondering why his name is attached to the phone, but...
Good. If I'd had to get in on that, then me and a friend would probably have overloaded that phone so hard it actually burst into flame.
Yes, which unfortunately might have led a more significant investigation coming to my door than the one that already did.
This is kind of my fault. I asked Roger to use his contacts to try to look into the legal aspects of what Denholm's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Finn's like, well, let me hack them. I thought he was competent at hacking. Like, I don't know, Castle King or Asuka.
Castle King is a master.
Yeah, well, apparently he didn't cover his tracks.
To say the least.
No. Perhaps now we know better in the future.
Yes, and hopefully he will as well. I don't like having Hong Kong police come to my door.
I'm not quite finished discussing the matter with him yet. I was mildly angry and had to leave a little early.
Understandable. Well, since we're brought up to speed on that, the same night that happened, while we were in the process of investigating that signal that came from Deepwater, he looks over at Hikaru. Are you familiar with Deepwater?
Is this something that my character should be aware of?
Not really, unless it's been brought up in conversation, because
I don't think it was.
Arthur may have glossed over it, but Arthur's like, I don't think it was in his welcome packet. You may want to bring him up to speed.
There were many things that were not in my welcome packet.
I can explain this one. Imagine all of your worst nightmares all packed into one place underwater. Welcome to deep water.
It's on the Marianas Trench, right next to what some would colloquially call Cthulhu.
Technically, the city's called Relia. It's just where Cthulhu lives.
Fine, be technical. Regardless, it's I've never understood the true purpose of the installation because we send the fuck-ups there. We send the bad projects, the things that we don't want to use, the things that are meant to be sequestered. We put them all in one very volatile little enclosure where if any of them were to go off, we'd probably bring about the end of the world as we know it.
Probably
Rumor has
not
it
considering the depths that everything's at.
Arthur's going to adopt an English accent real quick. Rumor has it you're kind of have a dumping ground, a place where you send the malformed and the insane, which never made any sense to me because you just destroy it. And then Arthur's going to change his voice again. It is offensive to us to destroy such beauty. You find hatred beautiful. Perhaps that is why we've never been able to destroy you. If anybody is actually a Doctor Who fan, he just quoted Asylum with the Daleks.
Dimitri.
Okay, Oscar just almost squeed.
Dimitri, on the other hand, is like he likes Doctor Who, but he doesn't have anything near that amount of knowledge of it. He's just like, were you channeling a spirit just then?
Doctor Who, Asylum with the Daleks.
I'll have to watch it.
I'm guessing it's similar to the Dalek Asylum, where it's like they may be useful in the future.
Something along that lines. That would actually make sense. But in any case, the signal that was interfering with the devices came from there. And, well, Cabal, do you think you could calm yourself enough to explain whatever you know about this? Because we're going off of supposition at this point.
You're not wrong, but you're also not right.
By the way,
this is coming from the machine.
Yes, which, by the way, there's a monitor on it, which is where this face comes from.
The original purpose for Deepwater was a testing facility of all the new projects, the things that were not quite suitable for integration into consensus. It later became a punishment for people who were unable to properly follow convention protocols. The predecessor to myself, the predecessor to Gideon, and the original focus for all AI or VI technology is what is in charge of the Deepwater facility. It's her.
So I'm confused. Does she have a core there, or did she... From the name, it sounded like she's completely able to live on the net.
She is able to... He'll seem to glitch on this a little bit. The core for this particular instrument is located in the heart of the Deepwater facility. However, she has absorbed numerous different types of technology during her testings.
Oh,
it is entirely possible that she has developed a means of projecting her actual conscience, like myself or Gideon, into the digital web, at which point she could go anywhere, within reason.
Ah, lovely. She's Skynet.
Not necessarily. She still is contained with a physical core.
Thank God for small favors.
She could be verse. She could be like the puppet master.
All right, so here's the
Arthur's
next
just going to look at her and say, understood that reference.
And Dimitri, of course, is just left behind. Just like, what? Oh, God. Look, this is what it boils down to, though. I think, and he's looking at Arthur now, I think Deepwater just became the next priority.
Is there any way of knowing what she wants? At which point Cabal will say, she's probably bored.
Cabal, do you think there's any... How loyal is she to the technocracy?
She is loyal to only one concept: the further development and propagation of science.
So, in other words, the establishment of the technocracy, not the individuals.
Negative. She does. Oh, sorry. You said the establishment, not the individuals.
Yes.
She is loyal to what the core establishment of the technocracy was back when she was created in the 90s.
So before they put the brakes on development, in a sense.
Yes, that is why people continually get sent there.
At this point, Asuka starts whistling a song that Arthur and probably a couple others might find familiar. And since I don't want to burst people's eardrums, I'll actually just hum it.
Okay. Arthur's gonna walk over to the door. Arthur's gonna walk over to the wall and put his head against it and say, "God, no! Please don't let them be that dumb."
It sounds like it from the description. But if that's the case, look, here's the thing. To use the analogy of Gladys, Gladys never wanted to leave. Gladys wanted to remain within her own bubble with her test subjects to amuse her own sadistic... Well, I'm not sure if this one is as sadistic. It seems more amoral from the description. But, look, here's the thing. Blowing up Deepwater is a bad idea. If we blow it up, any number of things could escape containment. No matter how efficiently we try to destroy it, I don't even think the Omega Protocol would be enough to contain what's in there. We would just risk waking up many more problems, and we'd be stuck cleaning it up for the rest of our lives, which wouldn't be very long.
The one thing I'm kind of curious about is if she is based off of Gladys, or if Gladys is based off of her, which is entirely possible because we don't know who runs Valve. What's happened down there that she's now become bored?
Probably the events of Portal before it happened killed everyone off.
She could very well have just simply run out of test subjects.
So now she's looking for more?
Here's the thing. I don't want to sound crude or crass or anything else, but if she's essentially Gladys, but in charge of not only portals, but what amounts to Black Mesa, because that's really what that place is at this point, we should consider the possibility that we don't want to blow it up. We don't want to try and destroy her, because she may be the only thing keeping that place in check. In which case we have to discuss alternatives. If she's not loyal to Smith, we could at least convince her to remain neutral if we can find a way of appeasing her. Not that I want to think about what that entails, but it would be better than the alternative.
The problem is that because of the information I've garnered out of the data spiders, that place is now a wall facility, which means that it's one of the things that is keeping the Wall o' Death active around the city.
She could always be convinced to pull the power at an opportune moment.
That's true.
Cabal, is there any way that we could... Here's the problem. Contacting her would be dangerous, to say the least. That would be like walking into a dragon's lair. Even no matter where we do it from or what precautions we take, she could bust down any firewall we create. If we were foolish enough to encounter her in the web, well, that would just be suicidal. But
what we have to do is offer her something that she wants.
If I may, there is a tale. Sorry, what?
Arthur's gonna, when Shosuro speaks up, Arthur's gonna look over at him and give him his attention.
Mm-hmm.
We have many origin stories among my people. And one of them suggests that in the days that predate those that we know, matter and spirit were the same thing, inseparable. And when the world was ordered and the two became separated, those beings that were spirit, who had untold phenomenal power, were contained in tiny little meat suits, and their power was restricted. Many people see this as a boon, many do not. Is there some way we could convince her that incarnating into, say, a constrained physical form would be beneficial to her?
Dimitri just raises a hand, like hold for a second, looks over at Asuka and goes, Edie.
That would be possible with a mechanical
They're just
shell,
chuckles.
but not with a biological one. I don't know the specifics of it, but even Cabal wouldn't fit inside of a normal head.
Not a normal one, no, but remember, Edie wasn't actually inside the physical shell in that example. Edie was projecting into that shell for more experience.
Oh,
That would be we would
work.
essentially be offering her a window into our world, which is what many AIs truly want, yourself included, Cabal. He looks over at Cabal meaningfully. Which
Cabal
we're still
actually
working on
has a
that.
wide smile on his face. Yes, please.
That
Give me
reminds
legs.
me, Cabal, you could try out our first line of hit marks when we get that far.
By the way, Arthur has not heard anything about that yet.
Arthur's like, wait a minute, what? You're gonna make killing machines?
Nine, not the kinds that the technocracy tends to use. More like just bodies.
They're meant to be more, how to put it? Imagine Arnold from the movie, if he were able to completely blend in with with humanity, had more of a amenable personality.
Shoshu starts waving his hands. Whoa, 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 whoa. Replicants?
Yeah, that's a good description.
Similar, but not true AIs. The design would not in any way incorporate artificial intelligence, because that would be how the world gets destroyed. Or at least that's how projects come out of control. No, this one is simply a very well-designed program VI. It's not self-aware. We're not incorporating quantum intelligence or anything of that nature. It's simply a better, more sophisticated version. But the main point of this is not to go around killing reality deviants, obviously. The point of this one is to give us something to use when the technocracy tries to use theirs. We haven't gotten very far beyond theoretical with the concepts for the spec, but I believe one of these could easily tear apart a Myrmidon with its bare hands.
Think of it as this way. The Council will have its own version of what the technocracy uses on a normal basis, except they're unarmed.
Unless they want to arm them, which they could.
Arthur's
But
just like, I don't know. This just sounds like a bad idea.
it's a long-term plan regardless. We haven't even begun the theoretical designing of it yet. It's simply a concept at the moment.
The gyro systems alone would take me a month.
It's ignoring creating the metal endoskeleton, the synthetic organs, cardiovascular systems. I'd have my work cut out for me. And then there's programming every single subsystem. That could take months, even with, he clicks off his fingers, myself, Asuka, Castle King, Nathan, Ziyi, and looks over to Hikaru. I know other people with computer skills, but even with every single person I know working on a project like that, it would take months. It would be a long-term project, not a mass-produced army.
If I got to work on the mechanical designs right now, even the programming would take us until at least 2018.
Oh, damn. I see your point.
Which is why it would be a large group effort. We could, hypothetically, be on the generous side, have it done within several months if we all pooled our efforts on it, but at the moment we have other concerns. I'm simply raising the possibility.
Yeah.
I don't want you thinking we're about to create an android army to destroy people.
I appreciate that.
So, but the concept for making a more simple version of that, a much, much weaker version, to allow Edie, or does she have a name, Cabal? Because I don't want to keep calling her a character out of fiction. Yourself excluded, of course.
Well, we'll just say, do you want to know something really messed up?
Let me guess, that's her actual name.
No, her name's actually Gladys.
Oh dear fucking god!
The change literally face palms.
At least we've got an easy name to change. It's a rare English name nowadays, but Gladys will work just fine for her.
It'll just have to be spelled properly. All right, so essentially what we're talking about is creating a shell, a basic shell, something that at first can only live inside a laboratory, which won't be too tempting for her, but with the promise of adding on extra features that would allow her to interact with humanity. And we would set a couple ground rules, testing parameters, if you will. She can't go around randomly killing people, or, well, intentionally killing them. Self-defense and discretion would be the watchword. But if we were to find this something she wanted, because I guarantee you the technocracy would never do it. They gain no advantage by offering her that. If we were to do that, though, we could essentially have the ability to shut down Deepwater's uplink to the dome whenever we wished. And I'm sure that someone with her resources could probably give us more if we wanted. But I would also recommend none of us ever step foot in that facility, no matter what she tells you.
Yeah.
Well, there is also the fact that the last 3 people that went into the facility, 2 of them came out dead and 1 of them came out broken.
Dare I ask who?
You're lucky they came out in the same shape.
Well, the problem is that we think that they had access to one of the people's bodies because the other one washed up on the shore. He's going to look over at Shosuro. You're familiar with the Kitsune, correct?
Yes.
They have the body of a Kitsune female.
This is a problem. This is a great problem.
Kitsune as in fox people? They're aware of foxes? I'm sorry, I shouldn't know any of this. Never mind.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are thought of in your philosophy, Horatio.
Yes, something like that. All right. So he just like makes a mental note, like, are there were turtles? Are there were elephants?
Oh, see, ask Marcus. He knows.
Oh god. Okay. So Demetria just kind of think for a second. Well, that changes our entire philosophy. I was going to get a bunch of us together to try and, do some sort of counteracting virus to deal with what she's done, but if we can forge a agreement discreetly, that would be better. But we have to face the possibility that even if we offer her something she wants and we contact her, there is every possibility she'll deny it and then sick the Innovatech on our position. So we would have to make this offer from a location where we are prepared to run like hell.
I think I know a place.
Where?
What we are offering her should be to her a vacation, a chance at incarnation, and from our perspective should be a prison. We need to, in my opinion, restrict her access to every... Are you familiar with the Shadowrun game?
Yeah.
Yes.
I played it a few times.
We developed smart link weapons, actually. I was going to show you that later, Hikari. He just smiles.
Fantastic. Do you remember how the Deckers used to have to jack in physically rather than wirelessly?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If we could shut down her connectivity to everything except this facility of which you speak, it would enhance her experience, he says, broadly gesturing and grinning.
Well, to be honest, that's as simple as making a one-way radio.
What
And
I would
that-
actually, what I would recommend is this. Actually, you see, I'm just going to point this out. When I initially found out from Cabal here that she was creating the zombie net using all of the local processors, I wasn't so much angry because someone was doing it, but that we hadn't thought of it first.
Cabal chuckles at that.
And with that in mind, what I would probably suggest is not making it so that her only access is through that one device, because how is she expected to get proper testing analysis from one point of view? She needs cameras. But instead, we create our own zombie net and give her limited access, with the understanding, quite frankly, that she could probably power through and take over our system. But propriety must be observed.
How are you going to
We
keep
would-
that underneath the technocrats' radars?
Because they'll think that she has it, which in
Better
effect she
question.
does.
How are we going to prevent others from contacting and influencing her?
Think about that for a second. Out of the other factions in the city, who exactly would have a chance in hell of a successful dialogue with Gladys? Just think about that for a moment.
I would love for the Sabat to try. It would be amusing to watch.
The Sabat don't care about that stuff.
That's my point. Neither do these. What are they called? The what was it? They were at the meeting. The other group of shifters. The
Arthur's going to
spiral-
wince and is going to say, please don't say that around true wild shifters. They tend to think that it is insulting.
Well, I don't.
But let's just say
no
they're
offense
enemies.
No offense intended. I don't know enough about them. I'm simply
He's going to
saying
look
they're
over at Tengu and say, those who walk the black spiral.
That definitely ruffles Shoshiro's
Yeah.
feathers.
Because you just said they were at the meeting. They were at the meeting. In other words, not being shot.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, be nice and say you're enemies, but
That is actually a broad scope when it comes to the
And you allowed
shifters.
them to treat.
They didn't actually say anything.
They've been in the city for a while trying to establish a hive.
Why is this information
hive.
I'm getting from mages?
I don't know. Maybe you should speak to your fellow shifters. I'm sure actually that there's not a lot of the shifters in the city that know about it.
is
I only
there
know about it because I was kind of stuck on the moon watching it happen.
Every time I talk to mages, I learn shifter things. Every time.
why? Asuka just has this really confused look on her face. Why do they call it a hive?
They're not insects. You know what? Dimitri's just like internal diplomat is stepping in. And he's just like, let's drop that topic right now.
Yeah.
Let us.
She's not actually asking anyone in particular. She's just kind of asking the wall.
I mean, Dimitri
Have you-
got what you were going with, but he didn't want to do it.
Have you ever stepped on a hornet's nest?
Oh, now I see the comparison.
Okay, that makes sense, yes. All right, so in short, though, my point was this. They're not going to get involved. The Sabat aren't going to get involved. Becker and all the other council speakers would know not to get involved and to discreetly tell their people not to, if there's any chance those people would get involved. I'm just saying, I'm not saying we would want to advertise her presence because then rumors leak out and the technocracy steps in. I'm saying more along the lines of the four speakers and perhaps the Emperor would know what the story is with this. Obviously you do because you're right here. And that is as far as we would want it to go, essentially. We would keep this a discrete arrangement. She gets a body. She gets testing access to the city. We look the other way within reason. There are ground rules. We trust that she maintains them. But bear in mind, I don't wish to sound crass or cruel or anything else, but if I have the choice of trying to stage an assault on a facility which, even succeeding, could destroy the world, or losing a few people to the sadistic tendencies of a rogue AI.
She's not sadistic. That's what Cabal say. Being a sadist means that you have to be able to derive some kind of pleasure out of it.
I get the technicality, my apologies. Suffice to say, to the overzealous scientific whims of a rogue AI. I would rather... Go ahead.
May I advance a hypothetical? We say that no one else will know about this. This is well and good. However, you discussed with me the other day a small technological company had recently been purchased. We have also witnessed within the past few days a rather uninspired attempt to hack a network to find information about that facility. Both of those happened within the city. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Are you
These
talking
are
about
both.
Fuijin?
Fujian
Yes.
Technologies, yes.
Oh, Sam.
Yes.
Now owned by Pentex or whatever the hell. Yes.
That would twitch that
Yeah.
would twitch the Korax.
No, he's
He
heard this.
already knows. He already knows.
Oh.
We told him that.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
want their servers.
Why do you think I've been trying to throw together a shifter scene for 3 days?
Right.
Korax needs to tell people things.
Yeah.
Korak's learning way too much from mages.
Korax
So-
is like, I need to roost on this ship.
Imagine if those two situations, both of which will get exponentially worse before they are actually completely dealt with, stumbled accidentally upon this particular body.
I have a better suggestion that actually solves one of those two problems. Well, actually, no. There are two problems you just mentioned. The uninspired hacking attempt, we simply need to make sure the speakers have a talk with their people and make sure that things like that don't happen. It should be a simple message that should never need to be iterated in the first place. If you're going to try and hack a government facility, do it smartly. Get backup. Don't be a lone wolf. And definitely not on your own cell phone that has the numbers of other people on it. That should never need to be explained to someone, but regardless. That solves one problem. You will occasionally have fuck-ups, but I don't think the odds are that your random fuck-up is going to find Gladys or in any way influence her. She's more
I feel
powerful than
that-
Ra.
I feel that it is safer if we confine her connectivity to a single body and then allow her to experience the world in which we corporeal entities experience it. If she wishes to use cameras for testing, she may interface with them as though a human would. I
This
think that-
is possible, or it is entirely possible.
It is the full experience. It may lure her in, and it will definitely keep us safer. That plus Asimov's laws, and we should be at least on.
Asimov's laws won't get more than a vague look of confusion in this instance. Like I said, ground rules, yes, but I don't believe you're going to convince someone like that to obey the 3 laws of robotics. That's not going to happen.
Not even the 4 laws.
Essentially, look, I get what you're saying, and I agree that would be an ideal outcome. But I don't think we need to be prepared for the eventuality that she may refuse that offer. We may need to sweeten the pot. Giving her limited access to sensors and such would be an option. Now, as I said, there were 2 issues you listed. One was the fuck-ups. The second, Pentex, well, you have to remember something. They're not directly affiliated with the technocracy. If anything, they're rivals. Shittier, substandard rivals. He just kind of smiles at that. So, with that in mind, we've been talking about dealing with Pentex for some time. I have reasons to go after them. Several other people do. They've pissed off a fair number of people. I have been meaning to investigate them at some point. If we were to establish
Arthur
a
will chime in
relationship...
at this point.
Go
At
ahead.
one point, they had some kind of weird monkey thing impregnating kinfolk and trying to create Fomori.
That just sounds lovely.
Hikaru will take a step back, turn around, and ball his fists.
He's saying it with obvious sarcasm. He's not saying, like, that sounds wonderful. No, he's saying it like,
No,
wonderful.
The mention of creating the Fomori is.
Yeah.
I don't have a large rage score, but I still
But
have
you
one.
halfway. Exactly.
Arthur will look
Oscar
over
then-
him and say, if it makes you feel any better, I summoned a Lunar Avenger in there, and she completely tore up the place. Monkey thing is dead, the Fomori are gone. We're all
Thank
good.
you.
Asuka will actually switch from the heavily accented English she normally uses to Japanese.
Let me. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
And basically tell him that they plan on taking that corporation down, if not completely destroying it.
The entire corporation. The global conglomerate. In Japanese. Sorry.
We'll take down what we can. The entire conglomerates will take longer.
I actually had a similar idea, but much less ambitious. The local branch, Fujitech, is newly acquired. It is a foray. Though Pentex, as you said, has been involved in other things recently, they had to operate through other intermediaries. Think about it this way. Pentex has resources, which, if they were purged properly and rededicated, could be useful resources. I'm not suggesting keeping the abominations. I'm fully endorsing purging that. But if we were to perhaps, it's like thinking for a second, if we had to sweeten the pot even further, we could always give her some influence over there, point her in the right direction. I'm fairly certain that given this is one of the finest things the technocracy was able to craft, Pentex wouldn't stand a chance in hell.
We also have to deal with the fact that Fusion Tech through and Pentex by that state have the blood of an ancient vampire, or at least the DNA data of an ancient vampire.
Perfect! He just smiles. Here's the thing. Let me just point this out. We're never getting that data back. We can go and find it and delete it from the local records, but the cat's out of the bag. Pentex will have that information. I am sure they've disseminated it as best they can. Whether they've studied it or done anything with it, I don't know. Don't care at this point. We're doing damage control. That's the best we can do. But, and the technocracy already has far better information than that anyways. But as far as that particular problem, I doubt that Gladys has that information at her disposal. Having a genetic sample like that might actually be a little tempting for her, along with all the other things we offer.
No.
Yeah.
This is where I draw the line. No.
I would also say no, due to the fact that if you do this and Becker finds out, she will systematically annihilate your people.
Firstly, there is a chance, there is a slight chance that we can get that data back, completely retrieved, destroyed in all of its forms, everywhere it resides. But we have to be very careful about it, and it will be something that you probably cannot help with.
Wishful thinking, I would say, but
if you guys had let me know about it beforehand, I could have intercepted those spiders.
If Pentex has even a tenth of the capabilities of the technocracy, and they do, then they've probably already globally disseminated the information and handled it on several backup servers that aren't even on planet.
This is understandable. However, there are, and he stops for a moment and looks up, ways to affect things that are not necessarily within our grasp.
Dimitri just shakes his head. There are entire organizations dedicated within those groups to preventing that eventuality. It's not something unknown. I may have flunked dimensional science, but there are others who didn't.
We are well aware of the nature of Pentex.
Asuka, again, back in Japanese, I wish you luck.
In Japanese, thank you, I will need it.
By the way, her Japanese is actually flawless. She speaks like a native.
Nice.
Dimitri just kind of looks over at Arthur, by the way, like before he forgets, saying, I did give you pictures of those data spiders, by the way. Remember? Before we ever moved on it?
You gave me pictures. If you had called me up while you were doing this and said, hey, there are these data spiders that are heading towards Fujin Tech, I could have
That
fed there
was
in the
attached.
Umbra and destroyed them.
That was all in the data packet.
That
I
you
gave you
sent
what we
me
had.
after the fact.
Actually, no, he sent it to you before they actually made the raid. He gave you the full access to everything they had.
Yes, but you sent it 2 days after.
No.
Yes, you did. You did. When he says if you had sent it if you had sent this when it was going down, Arthur means when you guys were scrying.
Okay.
If you had sent it to me when you saw them the first time, I could have tracked down the trail and destroyed them. And I probably could have had a lot of help to do it too, because corrupted data spiders, yeah, there are Weaver spirits out there that I can somewhat talk to that would hate that.
Of course.
There are
want
entire
to-
groups of living beings that would hate that.
Yeah, well, you get the point. I could have used data spiders against corrupted data spiders and cut off the information at the head.
I think the point at this juncture is that none of us can work alone on this issue.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's leave Pentex aside for the moment, as far as anything to do with Gladys. Ignoring that possible hellish conversion, we still want to make sure that Gladys stops observing everything, because here's the issue. Right now, she's observing probably the majority of cell phones, computers, and virtually everything else she can get her grubby hands on in the city, which means anyone in the city who's supernatural and not literate with their computers could be observed. Now, as long as she's simply bored, she might not care. She probably isn't looking. But if anything attracts her interest, she could wind up giving all of that information over to the technocracy, which would result in a systematic purge.
Yeah.
That's not something we want to have happen, so this needs to be solved.
I'll agree with you there.
And since assaulting it is essentially out of the question, we need to, and I don't even know how we confine it, because we don't even know how she's projecting herself. We should attempt to get her working on the less destructive side of things. I like resources.
Why does all of this feel like we're attempting to ask an ancient god to play nice?
And they ask you if you're a god, you say?
Yes.
Precisely. We have a slightly smaller god, he kind of nods over towards Cabal, who may be able to empathize with her.
God knows, can I empathize with her? I'm bored.
I cut the hard line because you were literally using every single bit of memory trying to build firewalls, which wouldn't have helped you.
He'll just nod at that, yeah.
Next time, cut off your own damn hard line.
You think I could have?
Yeah.
You could have shut off your Wi-Fi connectivity.
I did.
Oh dear.
Man, you really were scared of her. You have reason to be. Well, in any case. Alright, so we have a plan in that case. Oscar, how long do you think it would take us to have a basic model available for showing her in some specific location?
Well, that depends on how you want me to build it. With artificial muscles, it might be a week, since that's a simple metal or ceramic bone construction, and then adding the muscles properly.
Bearing in mind that I would be wanting this to be... It won't be appealing if we give her the offer of, oh, we've made you a body, but it can't go anywhere. That's not going to be at all tempting, given she's already trapped in one place. Why would she exchange one prison for another?
May
so
I?
It needs to... Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what if we were to draw the plans up very, very far in advance, but allow her to have input on them?
That's actually a fair point. Plans that show enough of a design to know that we're not simply spitballing the idea, but enough room that she can alter them if she has ideas.
I've got a few ideas for humanoid infiltrators that might work, but they'll need some advanced machinery to make.
Or advanced biologics, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Simply put, we'll come up with a design. And where exactly did you suggest we would want to conduct this meeting, Arthur? Since contacting her isn't the problem, it's simply finding a place where we can run the fuck away if we have to.
There's a parking lot. It used to be the National Security Building, the one that got attacked by our people back before anybody bothered to listen to me.
Uh-huh.
It's a place that's kind of off the radar because it technically doesn't exist anymore. So that'd be the best place. Plus, if the technocracy are spying on it, we can get out of their suit suite. I know all the back ways in and out of that area.
That sounds advisable. All right, then. We'll keep you apprised as soon as we have something resembling a gift packet for her to look over.
All right. Arthur will nod and then say, I need to get back to Jason and start working on some other things, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Understood.
Because I've got to get ready for work, so I'll see you guys later.
All right, catch you later, Brett.
Bye.
Bye.
He was hosting. No shit, I'm just kidding. No! Quick, we only have 3 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm hosting, so it's all good. Okay, so once he leaves, Dimitri shrugs a little bit, goes, all right, so we have a plan on that. So, would you like to see the other goodies we came up with recently?
I would indeed.
All right.
Oh, you're going to enjoy some of this.
Well, you've already seen the little watchdogs we came up with. The gel that you see on the back, I demonstrate, but we only made a very limited quantity of it. It operates on the same principle as white phosphorus, except if you were to fire this at a target, it splatters, burns, and then essentially the initial burn is very mild, so as far as such things go. But within a few moments, a chain reaction starts, and it consumes its entire fuel source, much in the amount of white phosphorus.
Oh, goodness.
Very effective against anything that burns.
Most things do burn. If you can't kill it with fire, you probably shouldn't be trying to kill it.
Exactly. It helps that vampires are flammable.
Fine.
Yes, that is the primary thing we've been nervous about recently. Which, by the way, out of character, the next time we get a chance to talk to Brett and do one of these frickin' crafting scenes, it's going to be a ward scene. Because I know if we don't ward up soon, we're going to get bit hard. Anyways, back in character. He just nods a little bit. He's like, well, they're operated by Ball for the moment. But here, let me show you the rest of what we have. He'll take you out of that room, lead you down towards the workshop. There are some other vats down there, but they don't seem to have life forms in them. They're not murky. They have what look like suits in them. The first one is, it looks almost like a wetsuit. It's I've got a picture here that's like a good. It's the one you saw earlier, actually. You already saw it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this sucker. That one's hanging in the vat. It doesn't have any weapons or anything like that. It's just a nice little, stealth suit. In the vat next to it, you see something else.
Oh.
This suit looks... Well, it has a similar, slick layer on top, and it's just as form-fitting, but... Okay, I will honestly say it looks a little bit off, because originally that suit looked like something else and we had to modify it. The new models will look just that perfect. This one looks a little bit off compared to that. There's also a small weapon rack hanging next to the vat, which has what looks like a heavy submachine gun and a long rifle, like a sniper rifle almost. He goes, I suppose, Asuka, if you want to demonstrate.
Of course. She will actually not grab any hearing protection and pull down the submachine gun.
There's a primitive firing range arranged against the other end of the hold. Nice little target.
Although she does grab a suit helmet, and pull it over her head.
Because the suit helmet has a cable which directly connects to the butt of the submachine gun.
Ah.
So it's essentially smart linked, yeah.
Asuka then holds the weapon basically at her hip and fires downrange, hitting every single target.
Yeah, we're not even going to roll for it. Suffice to say, she gets, like, if it's the only attack she makes this round, she gets +4 dice.
Oh, God.
And if she's doing a 3-bullet burst, which you do as a smart thing, that's another 3 dice. If she were wearing the suit, she'd have an additional dexterity bonus. Because it has micro servos that gives +1 strength, +1 dexterity. Also, you may notice on that suit, that's the one thing that's not really displayed in this visual here is there looks to be some kind of organic cabling lining the suit, like in various points, almost like an IV system, with some sort of liquid. It's not it's obviously not the incendiary gel or anything, but there's something there. And yeah, if you have any medical knowledge, maybe?
No, none whatsoever.
All right, you don't know what that's for. It looks.
My stuff is all tech and occult.
Okay. But yes, the important thing is when she fired that submachine gun, instead of bursting out our eardrums, you basically hear this. It's like clicks. Like literally, you're hearing the thing load the next bullet.
Yeah, you're hearing the rapid cycling of the chamber.
That's it.
Wow.
And the impact of it against the target, but there's no combustion, no boom, no anything.
Wow.
We designed that in, I think that was our first month, wasn't it?
Asuka pulls off the helmet. Yeah, first month here, suits and machine gun.
Though this was actually made by Nathan, who you will probably meet at some point. He's our firearms expert. He also designed the rifle over there, which is, I'm not going to demonstrate that one, but it fires a similarly silent round, but it's not designed for personnel. It's designed to counteract the Myrmidon suits. We haven't perfected it yet. It fires a biogel that expands on impact, bit of a foam reaction, and it generates an EMP field. It's not a very large field, however, so we would have to know where to aim it at the Myrmidon. I mean, if we shot it in the arm would go dead, but there's more likely vulnerable points we could aim for if we had someone with the expertise.
Or a Myrmidon suit of our own.
That's a long-term goal.
I'd still love to tear one apart and see how it works.
It's probably substandard shit from the pictures.
And that stops me how?
So we've got
to look at Smith's uniform.
That suit, the one you see that's got the armor plating, it's not that durable. Like, out of character, it's basically 2 dice worth of soap. Which, that's not very much at all.
No, it's really not.
But it has the
save
same...
your life once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has the same stealth capabilities as the other, plus the added benefits of being airtight, containing its own internal atmosphere with so many minutes of oxygen, very heavy-duty scrubbers to allow you to pull in oxygen without succumbing to any toxins, intravenous system that injects a very nice customized cocktail of adrenal stimulants, which gives you quite a jolt of speed and agility, along with the micro servos built in, which already give you a boost to those same perks. Let's see, what else? Oh yes, the visor. He motions for Asuka to take it off so he can show it to him.
But she's already got the helmet off, so...
Okay. Oh. He'll grab the helmet then and show him. It's got vision modes inside, thermal, telescopic. I think it's got a night vision. I forget what the other one is. Yeah, so I say it's all non-magical, but it's good stuff.
Basically, if you've ever seen the image settings that the Predator helmet has, yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
like that, yeah, very similar. And no, it doesn't have a shoulder plasma gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. We just finished working on this one a little while ago. We were delayed somewhat by having to abandon our last outpost. But let's see. Was there anything else?
That one's almost ready for production. It's ready for the testing phase, definitely.
Yes, which
Although Dimitri, I very much think we should build a heavily armored version of it.
well, that sounds like an idea, but we'll need resources. We'll have to talk to Martin about that. Because
I'd like the first prototype to be built for me, by the way.
We have we have the ability to fabricate the materials we need here, but it is so much easier when we already have steel instead of having to turn lead into steel.
I can imagine.
It's time consuming, and well, when we mess up, there's a mess. So it's much better to not have to do that in the first place. On the plus side, wasn't there someone asking for jade? He just kind of grins. We could easily make some. I don't suppose that it's artificial would matter under the circumstances, but making too much of a valuable substance can draw way too much attention.
This is very true. I'm certain you'll find lovely uses for things, though. I do like that suit. It looks very impressive. If you come across one that is more heavily armored without sacrificing agility, please keep me informed.
That is the idea I was thinking of for the heavily armored version. That's also why I wanted the first prototype to be mine.
We could easily make it... Here's the issue. We could make the suit tougher, but if we add any more weight, it's going to... what's the word? It's going to drastically affect the agility of the occupant. But if we were to design a custom metal, the trouble is none of us are exactly metallurgical experts here. It's not our field.
Sadly, I'm the closest we've got.
Yes. But we could design it with something along those lines. If we came up with something better than steel or titanium or the like, it came up with something that's a nice, low-weight, very dense material, that would get what you're aiming for without making it look like a Veronica.
I was thinking more Mass Effect heavy armor as far as that goes. Then again, ceramics might be the answer for that.
I have seen ceramic armor in action. It is very interesting. However, I've not found any that covers what I need covered or suits the stylistic aesthetic vanity that I possess.
What are you looking for?
I'm not entirely certain, but I will sketch something out for you.
Hey, if you're interested in hiring an artist, who was it who happened to know a little bit about that? Cordelia, yes.
Yes, she's a wonderful artist.
In simpler times, we were going to have her make some designs for something else, but looks like that'll be shelved indefinitely.
I still think we need her here eventually.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? He just kind of grins.
Oscar gives him a dirty look.
What? It's true.
Yeah, but I'm more thinking for her safety than anything else.
Given the people who are hunting us, I'm not sure that would make her altogether safe, but
She lives in a hotel at a point in time. She's even less safe than right now.
You have a point. Her main advantage is no one's looking for her yet.
Exactly. At least that we know of.
Well, we'll figure something out. In any case, That's the extent of what we've designed at the moment. There are a few other odds and ends, but that's the majority of it. Oh, also, by the way, you're probably going to see off in the corner of the hold, there are some larger, roughly human-sized, maybe better than human-sized robots. They're inactive. They look like these, just like basically manual labor heavy lifters.
Hmm.
They're literally just like with a tarp half thrown over them. They don't look like they were designed for combat. They're actually much less sophisticated than the little worker drones you saw, but they probably have much better lifting capacity.
Okay.
Other than that, well, I think that's the extent of what we have. So we'll come up with something over the next couple days, whatever. We'll come up with a design for a system she could use. It'll be simplistic at first, but we could always promise updates. I hope this works, because otherwise, taking that facility out is that's a mess no one wants.
I would agree with that. If I can be of any assistance, please do let me know.
I'm sure that at some point we may need an extra hand for programming. Have you managed to get a hold of Martin yet?
I have not, in fact. I have not been able to try. I've been very busy of late. I'm sorry.
It's understandable. I haven't reached him myself, so I'm hoping nothing's happened to him or anything, but he might simply be dealing with business matters. It would be nice if we could actually get a more aesthetically pleasing headquarters than this, but for the moment this is
I
out
like
of the
the
way.
atmosphere, though. I like the atmosphere.
Well, yes, but the bathing facilities leave something to be desired.
That is understandable.
It's not much for luxury. In any case, with that, actually, unless there's anything that Asuka needed or Hikaru wanted, that's probably a good place to end, I'm guessing.
I'm good for now. Hikaru is going to take time after this to drop down some ideas on the
Okay.
paper, and then he'll get them to you the next time.
Well, actually, he could probably work with Cabal on it if he wasn't offended at that idea. Cabal has art graphic design 1.
I don't know
And he's
why he
bored.
would find that offensive, so that would probably be a really good idea.
Yeah. I more meant the idea of you having to work with the AI or anything, but if that wouldn't
No.
bother him, then
No.
All right, we can always come up with something like that later. Anyways, in that case, I will end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and have a good night.